So you're thinking about moving to Bellingham, Washington? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you inside my computer and give you a quick tour of the over 20 plus core neighborhoods in the Bellingham, Washington area, so you can see why so many people love to call Bellingham, Washington home. And you're not going to want to miss it, so let's get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, playing, working, as well as the good and bad about living in Bellingham, Washington, then subscribe below and tap the bell icon for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current markets in Bellingham, Washington. My name is Dale Serbisek and I'm with the Living in Bellingham, Washington team, and every day we get calls, texts, and email from people just like you, and we love it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. Be happy to help you make that smooth move to the Bellingham, Washington area. Whether you've lived in Bellingham, Washington your whole life, whether you moved here recently, or whether you live thousands of miles away and are considering moving to Bellingham, Washington, in this video I'm going to give you a quick intro on the 20 plus core neighborhoods that make up Bellingham, Washington, as well as a few other neighborhoods that are in the outskirts just outside the city limits. And in this video, again, it's just going to be a quick intro. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but stay tuned for future videos because I'm going to do an individual video of every single individual neighborhood. And I'm going to do two types of video tours. The first one will end up being similar to the other ones that I've been doing of cities around Whatcom County. It's going to be a Google Map tour where I take you inside Google Maps and kind of show you around the neighborhoods, proximity to other locations, businesses, schools, and such. And then I'm also going to do a walking vlog tour in each of these neighborhoods as well. And that's where I hit the streets, show you a lot of the cool parks, neighborhoods, businesses, proximity to the water, a lot of good information so that you can see what neighborhood you might want to move into, whether you live here already or not. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we are inside the computer at the cityofbellingham.org website, which is cob.org. I'd encourage you to go check it out if you'd like to take a closer look at this map in the future when you're done watching this video. But as you can see here, these are the core neighborhoods within the Bellingham city limits. There are a few extra neighborhoods that aren't on this map, which would be considered Bellingham neighborhoods, but they're outside the city limits. A few of the extra ones that aren't listed here, there's going to be the Geneva neighborhood right here, and then a little further out Lake Whatcom. Lake Whatcom extends basically about 16 miles down this way, and a little further down in this general area is going to be a little community called Sudden Valley, which is not a town, but it is definitely a pretty big area. A lot of people live out there, I believe. About 3,000 plus homes. And yeah, and out here there's some other areas, and there's also some areas within some of these core neighborhoods that have their own unique names. For instance, this is called City Center here, which includes a lot of the downtown area. But right here is a road called Eldridge, and so some people will call this the Eldridge neighborhood right here. And then down in this area, past Edgemoor, is a road called Chuckanut, a very famous, beautiful scenic road that follows Bellingham Bay. And I've got some pictures of that and some other videos, and I'd encourage you, as I make more videos, we'll have some great shots of the Chuckanut roadway that you can take there. It heads down to Skagit County. So Chuckanut is another area that's got a lot of beautiful homes as well. Now, one of the things that I might add about the Bellingham area is Bellingham actually used to be 3 separate distinct towns. And we're talking back around the late 1800s, early 1900s. Of course, the Bellingham downtown central core area here, this was Bellingham, town of Bellingham, and to the north around the bay up here was called New Whatcom. And then you might see this little neighborhood right here called Fairhaven. Well, this general area here actually was a town called Fairhaven. And as the towns grew, they eventually merged into one another. So a lot of people, if you're new to the area, will say that Bellingham is pretty hard to navigate by car because a lot of the grid systems go at angles to one another, and they kind of mix and match and curve in and curve out. And it can be pretty daunting. You can get turned around because, again, you're kind of wrapping yourself around Bellingham Bay. And also, as you might imagine, some of these neighborhoods, for instance, the Columbia neighborhood, Leonard Streets, Cornwall Park, Sunnyland, York, Seahome, South Hill. These are going to be your oldest neighborhoods. Of course, Fairhaven's pretty old as well. They're going to be homes where, of course, there's new construction there as well, but they were first starting to get developed in the probably 1880s when a lot of the people that were working in this area were loggers or fishermen. So a lot of these were smaller craftsman style houses, very functional. Of course, South Hill had some of the most expensive houses in the area. There's some beautiful mansions along South Hill that were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, as well as along the Eldridge Road here. There was a lot of beautiful homes looking out over the bay. And as you move further out, for instance, Birchwood, a lot of mid-century homes were built. In some of the newer areas, some of the newest neighborhoods going in, of course, are going to be in the North Bellingham area, such as Cordata. A lot of new construction, new townhomes, condos, small, very efficient, very green homes are being built with, you know, solar panels on top. And it's a lot flatter up here in the North Bellingham area. As you go further north into the county, it begins a lot of farmland. So it's easier to build. There's more land to build on. When you go to the south here, you're going to start running into hill country. A lot of forests, state park, all that kind of stuff that's protected land. So there's not much more that can be built on as we go south. Of course, there's pocket areas on Chuckanut and the surrounding areas that have little lots that you can still build on, but you're looking at, you know, $500,000 plus just for a building lot, and that may not even have a view. And then as you go out to the east, there's still some, you know, mid-century homes in the Puget area. Whatcom Falls has a lot of nice homes that have a wide range of when they were built. Alabama Hill is another mid-century neighborhood. Of course, again, there's always new construction in these areas. The cool thing about Alabama Hill is it's on the side of a very steep hill that looks to the west. So you get some magnificent distant views of the bay. The Roosevelt neighborhood, again, nice little area, but it's down on the level land as we come into the Bellingham proper area. Barclay is also on the side of that hill. There's a lot of new homes that have been built in the last 20 years, a lot of $1 million plus homes. Great neighborhoods in here as well. The Iron Gate, this has a lot of industrial warehousing and stuff. It doesn't mean that there aren't nice areas to live in there, but a lot of that is going to be industrial. King Mountain, again, on the side of a hill that's going to be looking with some great views of Bellingham Bay. And as we go further south here, Edgemoor, a lot of mid-century homes were built in Edgemoor. These are going to be on nice big lots. We're talking like quarter acre, half acre, even some 1 acre lots. Beautiful, beautiful homes. A lot of your mid-century, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright type homes are going to be in that area. Fairhaven is a very dense area. They actually have a specific zoning within Bellingham that's very unique. It's called an urban village, which means they don't have like fancy curbs and gutter systems. A lot of the roads are going to look exactly like they did in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, you know, with ditches where, you know, if you remember Grandma and Grandpa burning leaves in their ditches in the fall. I don't think they burn leaves anymore, but it's that kind of a street area, not a lot of sidewalks in the residential areas. A lot of the homes in there are going to be built, you know, over 100 years ago. It's like going back into, you know, a time capsule. It's a pretty cool area. A lot of people love to live in Fairhaven. And of course, it has the old brownstone buildings in the core area, which used to be downtown Fairhaven, which I guess you could still call it downtown Fairhaven, but that's just part of Bellingham now. A lot of really nice little restaurants and shops, local shops. A lot of people, when they come to visit Bellingham, Fairhaven, they will definitely spend an afternoon, get some ice cream, check out the famous Village bookstore, and a lot of other great things. And South Hill, of course, another very desirable area to live in. Beautiful, beautiful homes. You're talking, these homes are going to start at $1 million and go up to 2 or 3 million. And when I say $1 million, we're talking like, you know, 2-3 bedrooms, sometimes even under 1,000 square feet. So again, very, very beautiful homes. There's a lot of nice parks. There's Boulevard Park that you can walk along back and forth. There's Taylor Dock that you can walk on. It's a very hot spot for tourists and people. Well, I shouldn't say tourists. It's not real touristy, but people that come to visit, because again, we're really close to Western Washington University area, which is right here. So a lot of students are going to be in this area. It has that typical college vibe of, you know, if you've ever been to a college town, that's what it's going to feel like. And a lot of the students will walk down through here and spend time along Boulevard Park, hanging out, jumping in the water in the summer. Happy Valley is another area which has a lot of affordable homes. Not really any views of the water. It's pretty dense in here. There are a lot of apartments as well. Again, it's a lot of overflow. Students will live in this area as well. The York neighborhood, one of the oldest neighborhoods in town. Again, a lot of homes that have been built in the late 1800s. That some of them have been restored. Some are still rentals. Some have been in the family for decades. Quite the variety there. The lettered streets, as you might imagine, all the streets are named after letters. And again, it has a lot of the craftsman homes, you know, like the ones that you hear people talking about you used to be able to buy in the Sears catalog. So you got a lot of homes that are, 2-3 bedroom, 1 baths that are, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100 square feet. There's some bigger ones in here too, but again, very dense. We're seeing a big resurgence of people buying in here and fixing these homes up and making them nice again. But again, you're gonna have more renters, rental homes in this area. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because again, that translates into affordability. You just have to look at each individual house to get an idea. Of course, the Columbia neighborhood starts to get some bigger lots, bigger homes. Probably the more affluent people of the day when these houses were built lived in the Columbia area. As I mentioned, Birchwood has a lot of mid-centuries on bigger lots. Gives you some of that elbow room if you don't like to be stacked right on top of people. Cornwall Park, again, very nice area. It's got the famous Cornwall Park, which is a very big, nice park. A lot of mid-century as well as early 20th century homes in there. And the Meridian area, of course, this is up where Whatcom Community College is. So up here feels more like suburbia in this general area. And then of course, as you go into King Mountain, the Barkley area, these Alabama Hill, this is gonna be more suburbia. But again, a big mix of when these houses were built, and price ranges are going to be all across the board. You're going to see prices, starting off right now at the time of this video, probably $500,000, going up to $1 to $2 million. The Silver Beach area is really nice. It feels kind of like a resort area because, of course, you're along the north shore of Lake Whatcom. So there's a lot of great waterfront on North Shore Drive. Again, property's probably starting around $2 million if you're on the waterfront. There's some condos and such waterfront homes along here. And then as you circle around into the Geneva area, again, there's more waterfront homes as well as up here in the actual streets and neighborhoods. Again, you're looking at probably median home prices in the $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 range. Whatcom Falls Park is most famous for the big park called Whatcom Falls Park. Has a magnificent waterfall. We'll put some video overlays in here to show you the nice waterfall in Whatcom Falls. There's a lot of great walking trails, the whole network of trails. I might add there is something called the Interurban Trail System in Bellingham, and I should see if I can find a map of that, and if I do, I'll throw it up over this map here in the video. But again, it's a network of trails that go all around Bellingham, and it is said basically that you could get pretty much anywhere in Bellingham without actually having to travel on a city street. So whether you're biking or hiking or jogging, pushing the stroller, walking the dog, it's a great way to get around, get great exercise. People that I know, and I've walked a lot of it, said it feels very safe. Great views of the water in some areas. I mean, you could pretty much go all the way from the Chuckanut Larrabee State Park down here and wind your way all through Bellingham around. So just a great opportunity to see Bellingham if you're gonna check it out if you're new to the area. And the Samish neighborhood over here, they don't actually show it, but Lake Padden is right about here, which is another nice little lake. It has a walking trail that goes all the way around. It's about 2.6 miles. There's some parks as well. Cool thing about Lake Padden, they do not allow boats with gasoline engines, so there's just a lot of paddle boarders and people floating around on floaties and fishing from, they do allow the little electrical trolling motor, so you'll see some small boats with electric trolling motors enjoying the early morning fishing because that lake is stocked with trout, as well as Lake Whatcom is stocked with trout. There's probably about 8 or 10 lakes all around within probably about a 15-minute drive of Bellingham that have stocked lakes with trout. So if you like to fish or just hang out or boat, great opportunity there as well. And like I said, one cool thing about this City of Bellingham or cob.org website, if you go to this website and you go and hover over any of these, for instance, Whatcom Falls Park, and you click on it, it should take us to a more detailed page. There you can see is the base of the waterfalls at the Whatcom Falls Park. It'll give you a little summary of that particular neighborhood, some specific zoning maps, aerial view like this one here. It's kind of cool. It shows you a view above so you can get an idea of where the density of homes are versus where the more foresty areas are. And let's see, so Whatcom Falls Park, you can see this is Lakeway Drive here, and this is Woburn. So Whatcom Falls Park is going to be right about here in this general area is Whatcom Falls Park. And there's quite the trail system in here. And of course there's the waterfall and there's a salmon hatchery, which is really kind of cool. So it's a great place to spend an afternoon if you're not familiar with the area. And then over here in this general area is what they call Galbraith Mountain, which there is, I believe, 80 plus miles of diverse, intense, awesome recreational mountain biking. So if you like to mountain bike, and you don't have to be a great expert mountain biker, there's quite a range, just like if you go to a ski slope and there's the bunny hills all the way to the black diamonds. It's the same thing. There's a rating system. There's a nice little map system. So you can go out here by yourself if you want to be pretty aggressive, and a lot of people are using full suspension mountain bikes, or if you're just out with your kids and or your significant other and you just want to cruise around and have a nice Sunday afternoon bike ride, you can do that as well. So yeah, that's the cool thing about clicking on the specifics of each of the little neighborhoods, and you can see there's some recent articles and blogs about each individual neighborhood as well. This is something I think is pretty cool. It's the Garden View Tiny House Village Park. I'm sure if you are into housing, you've seen the recent trend of tiny homes, and you can go online and YouTube and Google and see all sorts of just amazingly creative tiny homes that people are doing. These look more like sheds, but hey, anything works, especially with the cost of housing in Bellingham going up so high. It's great to see some alternatives for people who like to live a little bit more efficiently and don't want to pay $500,000 for an 800 square foot house that's 2 bedrooms and 1 bath and needs a bunch of work. But again, it doesn't mean you shouldn't consider Bellingham, because a lot of you I know are coming from areas outside, for instance, California, Texas, the East Coast, some of the bigger metropolitan areas, Seattle, and Bellingham seems like a bargain. And yeah, I think another cool neighborhood, let's see what the Fairhaven one looks like. Here, this is a great picture. Here's the barber shop in Fairhaven. Diane owns this, Diane Phillips. I get my haircut there. She's great. She's been a barber for I think 30 years. And if you like that old-fashioned traditional barber shop experience, go check out Diane. She's got 3 chairs in there. The chairs look like they're 100 years plus, but she will give you a great haircut. She uses a straight edge on the back of your neck with the whipped cream type shaving cream, and does a great job, and even has a quick back massage on your neck when you finish up. So be sure to check her out. And then of course down here you got Archer's Ale House. It's such a great little pub down these little stairs. It kind of reminds me of going to Cheers. And then you've got one of my favorite stores, Artwood, which is right down here. If you like high-end woodworking, there's a woodworking retail shop that's owned by about 15 different master woodworkers in the Pacific Northwest that have a cooperative where they display their high-end furniture in there as well. Some magnificent pieces, man. We're talking like dining room tables that are $10,000 and chairs that are $3,000 a piece. Got a good Mexican restaurant over here, Jalepenos. Again, we'll go all more into the specifics when I do neighborhood vlogs of each individual neighborhood. And one other one I wanted to click on, which is pretty cool, I think, is the South Hill neighborhood. You can see here, again, being on the side of a bluff, one of the older neighborhoods in Bellingham. And you can see right here is Taylor Dock. A lot of people will walk down this dock, and it goes over the water over here to Boulevard Park. Up at the top here behind these trees is, well, this is the Seaholm Arboretum. And as you go a little bit further and around here is the campus of Western Washington University. So again, just a great, vibrant atmosphere. And if you go this direction, you can actually walk in about 5 minutes. You will be in Fairhaven. This direction is downtown Bellingham. So there you have it. Quick intro into the Bellingham core neighborhoods. Again, I'd encourage you to definitely check out my future videos. And I promise I will give you some awesome material of me walking through these neighborhoods and showing you all around the places I like to hang out. And then that way you have a better idea if you're thinking of moving to the area of where you might want to live. But of course, it doesn't beat seeing them in person. So if you are coming to the area or planning a trip, be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email a few days, weeks, or months ahead so that we can put together a great tour for you. I'd love to help you make a smooth move to the Bellingham, Washington area.